Boy, I tell you, it really does work out to do this over a month-long period, this little form I started, because sometimes it felt the same, but towards the end, it really picked up as we finally hit November. But let's look back at October on the NXT scene. Hello, everybody. I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster, and welcome once again to another episode of the NXT scene. Episode 3, I believe. In this episode, we'll be going over the takeover we recently had, Takeover 30, Halloween Havoc, and events that have unfolded and storylines being told across both NXT and NXT UK. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and first highlight NXT America. So first off, I must say NXT TakeOver 31 was a very good pay-per-view, and I must say having what back in commentary really does help the commentary here, but you never will replace Mauro Ranallo, who now is gone. Mauro Ranallo, please take care of my friend. Take care of your family, take care of your health. Thank you for everything you gave to NXT. But Vic Joseph's got better and doing a great job as Beth Phoenix continues to give us commentary from a remote location. Safety in mind, of course. And I think the commentary team overall is doing pretty well in NXT versus Raw and SmackDown. I also appreciate the fact now they're under a new venue, the Capitol Wrestling Center. And I must say, it has really changed the vibe when it comes to NXT. It makes it feel a little different, a bit more underground, a bit more organic. The hybrid use of virtual fans and realistic fans as far as family and staff and friends goes. I think it's a nice touch too, despite the circumstances about recent COVID outbreaks. With that being said, I think about TakeOver 31. I think about the hot opener with Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest challenging each other for the North American title. Damian Priest coming in as champion. And of course, this was the night that Johnny Gargano felt the promise was going to come true. Both of them, him and Cass, were going to leave for championship gold. Didn't happen. Incredible competitive opener. It really looked at some past history with the two. I thought the Steel Steps were going to meet. Damian Priest is back again. Didn't happen. And at the end of the day, in the ropes, he got caught as he went for the final beat. Johnny Gargano did lose. Damian Priest retained his title. I was quite surprised by that. But Damian Priest has been quite an amazing champion so far with the North American title. I will say that. I look at the next match, the grudge going on with Kushida and Velveteen Dream, this whole Back to the Future vibe, and also, of course, looking at the fact that it seems that Marty McFly could beat Doc Brown. And in the end, Kushida did, and really showed much more ruthless aggression as he continued to attack the arm. And it looks like Kushida's finally getting a step forward. Again, when you turn heel or show more aggression, it seems you get ahead in NXT. It was a pretty good grudge match. And then, of course, we had the NXT Cruiserweight Championship finally showcased on a takeover as Isaiah Swerve Scott took on Santos Escobar for the title. Really scary spot towards the end. It looked like his head may have just touched the steel ring post, so maybe in safety the match was halted. But it did take a new move for Santos Escobar to stop Isaiah Swerve Scott, who came this close to getting the title. I thought it was a very good match, but I feel like the Cruiserweights are still a bit of an underlooked part of NXT. And overall, I wonder now with Swerve that got beat, who can take on Santos Escobar for the title? And then I look at the match following that. Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. Over a year in the making since I saw it last year in Toronto. Both ladies really tore the house down, I thought, in this match, but I thought the Johnny Gargano spot, him trying to come in as ref and pull off a Bailey Sasha type vibe, really was annoying. Glad it didn't work. And honestly, it was at that point that I feel like at this point, Candice LeRae is not ready to be NXT Women's Champion. They're going to keep it on Io Shirai for the time being. Very competitive match. I was looking forward to these two facing each other again. And then when I think about one of my all-time classic championship takeover matches, because recently NXT championship matches, they have not lived up to the hype you think they would be. Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor definitely did and surpassed that to me. An absolute brutal affair where both men were basically dissecting each other body part by body part. Stiff kick to the liver. Kyle O'Reilly thought the match was going to be halted pretty soon after that. And even, of course, after I read that the match was prematurely stopped towards the end with the coup de grace that wasn't supposed to happen apparently that soon, though the match went for a long time. Finn Balor did retain in the end. Both men leave respect. Both men leaves with internal injury and total bleeding. But Rich Holland comes out with a beaten down Adam Cole and just throws down ringside. Who the hell did it? We have some sort of clever angle, of course, on the logo to wonder what happens next. So now let's go ahead and move forward and look at the NXTs over the weeks because they kind of felt the same. Oh, wait, how can I be so rude? Ember Moon and Toni Storm are now back in NXT as part of NXT here. Ember Moon bringing in Ember's Law, Toni Storm bringing a brand new Toni Storm apparently, ready to turn the world upside down. She had a quick squash match with Aaliyah, go figure. But she looked very good, and I like her new entrance. Definitely brings a mad, powerful, rockin' vibe to NXT. While Ember Moon, she is ready to challenge herself among the best and really push herself to in a place that she's going to feel comfortable and happy. She laid down the law, says she's here to do, and it looks like she's already had a number of people that are trying to get ahead of her in that too, including Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. This was the story for a while, the women's division. If we look at Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley, the grudge they're having of the two biggest, baddest powerhouses in NXT women's division today, the best women's division in the business, in my opinion. And then, of course, you have Dakota Kai and Ember Moon renewing hostilities based on what Dakota Kai once was, now is. And in the end, Ember Moon, Rocket also knew about, I think by Hailstorm, I like it. She got the win over, of course, Dakota Kai in that tag match. Her and Rhea, pretty sure that was just a one-off. And my suspicions were right. As we look at the rest of NXT, Austin Theory challenged Johnny Gargano and lost. It looks like somebody wants to follow Johnny Gargano away as they were left with a big television. Apparently, Indy Hartwell has looked into the Johnny Gargano way, supports Candice LeRae at least, has helped Candice LeRae, including getting her number one contenders match towards what became the holiday theme, NXT Halloween Havoc. It looks like Kushida, Velveteen Dream, they're still having faults with each other, but also Ciampa is now mixing the fold after Ciampa and Kushida's match was ruined by Velveteen Dream. Then these three men mixed it up in a triple threat the week following that, and it looks like thanks to a cash, Ciampa lost, Kushida came out on top. Things are looking very bright for Kushida, but I do wonder now, it looks like we're revisiting Velveteen Dream and Ciampa. Where is this going to go? Is Velveteen Dream's arm ever going to heal? Dexter Lumis also finally made his return, as Cameron Grimes called him a freak, wanted an answer, didn't get an answer, didn't get beat down by him either, but he did get a previous beat down by a couple of competitors, including Rich Holland, who suffered a nasty injury, unfortunately, at the hands of Oney Lorcan. Just a bad spot. Ugh, his leg bent backwards. Now he's out indefinitely. I really do wonder, though, what the plan was for Rich Holland as he came up with Mercedes. Says, I didn't have Mercedes, now I do. And, of course, we learned over time what that was. But it just was bad runnings for, of course, Rich Holland, who had a lot going in for him in NXT so far. I hope he gets well soon. As we look at the tag team division, we figure out who would challenge the tag team champions next, currently held by, of course, Breezango. And basically, it comes down to Undisputed Era, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Undisputed Era, they get the win, but things did not work out the way you would think for the Undisputed Era. I also look at the Cruiserweight division now. It looks like Isaiah Swerve still has eyes on the title, still is challenging Legado Fantasma at all fronts, but it looks like a newcomer is trying to step up and challenge the champ in one Jake Atlas. And I'm curious how far this program might go. As we look towards Halloween Havoc and our number one contenders, Austin Theory, he challenged Johnny Gargano not once, but twice it seemed, both on the mic and in the ring, and lost. And then the following week, he tries to back up his mouth again, and he gets destroyed twice by Bronson Reed and quits. So I'm going to tell you that's not the last we've seen of Austin Theory, but a new angle is going to come. It might have been revealed at Halloween Havoc, but we'll have to wait and see. And then I think about, of course, the mysterious attacks to the Undisputed Era come their championship match prior to Halloween Havoc for the tag titles. And reluctantly, Kyle O'Reilly says, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, you can take our spots. I can't fight these two alone. So Kyle O'Reilly just recovering, says was 100% probably good, but he didn't choose to. And in the end, these two that I thought would never get the gold, they finally get the gold for the most unlikely of resources. And one, Pat McAfee. And Pat McAfee says, we are the kings, you all suck. And Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are now your NXT Tag Team Champions thanks to Pat McAfee. Of all the ways that these two finally get the gold, I didn't see that coming. Somebody was going on my street. And then, of course, Shotzi Blackheart, who hosts Halloween Havoc, she had a chance to challenge for the title, become number one contender. That got denied thanks to Brass Knuckles involvement by Indy Hartwell from ringside behind the rest back. And Candice LeRae moves on to once again challenge for Io Shirai. So I got two rematches basically coming at Halloween Havoc. Speaking of which, Damian Priest challenged, he basically defended the title against Dexter Lumis in a very interesting, compelling main event that got ruined by Cameron Grimes. And Cameron Grimes ended up paying for his sins in the most scary way possible, as we learned. So I think that pretty much covers everything that happened up to Halloween Havoc. Let's go ahead and talk about it as it just officially unfolded. A renewed WCW tradition brought back under NXT. And this was way better than GAB. And honestly, it delivered on all fronts. Shotzi Blackheart encompassing everything that encompasses the scary spooks and scares galore of Halloween, with trading out outfits from zombie, devil, witch, or dark queen, whatever you want to call it. Spin the wheel, make the deal was the theme around the title matches, and it opened up with a rockin' live performance by Damian Priest's friend, apparently. Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano challenging for the North American title again. Apparently hates pumpkins. Also hates wheels, apparently, as we learned prior to this, as there was a fun skit at the Gargano's household, as always, and they're sitting down eating dinner. And basically, this turned into a Devil's Playground match, which basically meant anything goes, no rules, no disqualifications, can only win via pinfall or submission, falls count anywhere. And it went everywhere. There was a crazy spot with a slice spread over the steel steps, Johnny Gargano getting the early control, and then Damian Priest, he garnered some control back on the outside. Johnny Gargano throwing his body off the ramp to the outside. These two go in the back. Johnny Gargano dumps trash on him, puts him against steel metal girding, and there's a bin that comes into play. They go up to the pedestal where the wheel was. Shout out to Marilyn Manson giving music for the show. And in the end, someone else screamed, gave Johnny Gargano help with the assist of a steel pipe, followed by a tornado DDT with assistance of the wheel by Johnny Gargano, and a given tombstone by the Scream assailant. Johnny Gargano slams Priest the tombstone. Priest goes flying off in the dead of night through the cemetery, crashes through a house, falls to the floor, covered, limp. Johnny Gargano makes history, becomes a two-time NXT North American champion under the wildest of circumstances. So my thoughts are this. Once again, Johnny Gargano is now North American champion. What is he going to do with it? Is he going to bring back the Johnny Gargano initiative? Who's going to step up and challenge him for it first? Damian Priest says he's not done. His name and reign of infamy has just started. NXT in general, man, that guy's taking some serious bumps. And I'm curious now when he's going to cash in. What's most likely to be his rematch clause towards the title. And as far as Johnny Gargano, one half of the prophecy was fulfilled. Will the other half be fulfilled too later on in the night? Only time would tell. Am I bleeding? Yeah, I'm bleeding. That's great. Freaking scar mark. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Anyway, don't worry about it. I'm fine. So moving on from there, we go into a tribute match for Dia de los Muertos, basically, as Santos Escobar with Legado de Fantasma. He basically takes on Jake Atlas, who tries to step up against the champ in a non-title bout. Short match, though, it felt kind of understated to me, as Legado de Fantasma came into play, including a fixed lucha mask by, I think, Raul Mendoza, allows Santos to hit the driver. Quick win. But I like the tribute to Rey Mysterio's Halloween Havoc attire by Santos Escobar with the question mark pants, purple and black, purple pants and the black question marks. I thought that was pretty clever. As Cameron Grimes is terrified of facing Dexter Lumis in a Haunted House of Terror match, William Regal, sly as ever, escorts him to the parking lot, where apparently Michael P.A.'s comes out all school, like Fabulous Freebirds type style, in a complete orange satin attire. And the van had a zombie apparently in the passenger seat. I thought that's pretty funny. Cameron Grimes rolls up in it, and we're off to the Haunted House of Terror to come. Apparently, there was a costume comp between Wade Barrett and Vic Joseph, and apparently Wade Barrett won because he was Bad Barrett. So, according to him, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. As, of course, he had the gavel in play. I loved it. He definitely won. But kudos to Vic Joseph. I found Waldo. He was Waldo, or as my friend Megan called him, Wally, as they call him apparently in the UK. I thought that was a pretty fun moment as well. Everyone was having a fun blast, including all the audience dressed up in Halloween attire to it seems. Everybody spooks and scares galore. But then we go into basically Shotzi Blackheart, by the way, welcoming us in an electric chair with grinding a chainsaw. Man, she went through enough costume changes for one Halloween, that's for sure. Very impressive. Everybody channeling the Halloween spirit. We then have... I think we went to our first part of the Haunted House of Terror, and I must say, this seriously surprised me. I wasn't so much scared as I was laughing and entertained by Cameron Grimes' pure fear. Everything from a swinging bench on a tree to a tricycle that rises up in the hallway to a deer on the wall. And then all of a sudden, a ref turns around, zombified look, I guess. That scares the hell out of Cameron Grimes. And here comes Dexter Lumis. No words, but out of nowhere. And Dexter Lumis just looks like basically a serial killer in this, kind of when you think about it. Even after busting through a door and Cameron Grimes trying to lock him out. And then Cameron Grimes locked himself in the bathroom, thinking he's going to get Fire Lady behind the curtain. Which turned out to be something out of The Exorcist. Pretty sure that was probably Casey Catanzaro, some sort of zombie out of the shower that drove Cameron Grimes just absolutely scared bootless. As he tries to get out of this house, he finds himself in a living room setting, gets the better Dexter Lumis for a moment, finds himself in the clear for a moment, only to find himself surrounded, and then tries to get out of the house, goes towards a window, and out of nowhere, freaking Dexter Lumis comes into play and tries to choke the life out of him. He drags him in, gets him off though, and then gets the better one of the zombies, but then another zombie literally jumps from, I think, a fridge or some sort of cabinet onto his back, something out of Left 4 Dead scenes. As he finally makes his way out of the house with this thing on his back, he throws it over a wall and literally runs back, or starts running back, apparently, to the Capitol Wrestling Center. And I just see to be continued. I'm like, please don't let this end like this. I need a definitive ending. I love this. This is one of the best cinematic things I've seen under the WWE banner all year. And that's saying something. Anyway, as we go back to the arena, we get the battle of the juggernauts in the NXT women's division, as Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley toward into each other, power for power, move for move, the toughest bout I've seen Rhea Ripley in a while, including a ridiculous counter run power up deadlift, powerbomb spot into the steel fencing around ringside. That's in front of the plexiglass, and then drops Rhea on her back. Rhea's back being the story of this match. She goes for a riptide a couple of times, couldn't get it. Big reach super kick spot by Raquel. At one point, they're literally on the ropes. She goes for an avalanche riptide, couldn't quite do it. And as Raquel came very close at one point with a near fall, Rhea Ripley somehow persevered, literally persevered in this, stood tall, pulled off a riptide, and got the win. What an incredibly hard-hitting physical affair. That is a testament to the NXT women's division. Raquel, she tried to take on the best, and in my opinion, the locker room leader of the NXT women's division. She came close, and I could definitely see these two finding each other again, but it wasn't her time tonight. Kudos to both women. You talk about women's professional wrestling. Both AEW and NXT had great women's wrestling, actually. I just wish AEW had more time for it, but they're working on it, so, you know, just pacing. Anyway, we also landed Ember Moon. She talks about how Dakota Kai and her have both changed and grow, but Dakota Kai wants to get involved. She's going to face Ember's Law, and it was made official. We have Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai this week on NXT as it comes to you Saturday night, November 1st. Happy fall back, happy November to you all. 7:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, we then go into a promo by one Tommaso Ciampa as Cameron Grimes literally is continuing to run back to the Capitol Wrestling Center and does make his way back. And Ciampa does not recognize NXT as it used to be. He basically says everything he has to do was never given to him. He's scratched and clawed. He's hungrier than all these other up-and-coming hungry competitors. And basically, he says that Velveteen Dream, you're a dead man. You already cost me once with that cast. You try it again. I think he's going to try and break his arm. So it looks like renewed hostility between the Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa. I'm curious how this feud all falls out, as of course our NXT champion is basically in limbo until his jaw covers, but at least he hasn't relinquished the title. And then I want to talk about another thing about Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Look at the tag team division. We know who was behind the scenes. It was Pat McAfee. Well, apparently he had a bigger plan, and it was to take out the Undisputed Era since his match at NXT TakeOver 30, where he stole the show, and I'll give credit where credit's due. Fairly impressed everybody, including me. As he laid out his foundation and plan and talk about how stupid the Undisputed Era was, and what he plans to do here in NXT with the new tag champs and with Rich Holland, but unforeseen circumstances. Kyle O'Reilly comes out by himself, and it looks like he's going to try and take on these three. I think he's crazy, but Kyle O'Reilly's got heart. As again, the rest of the Undisputed Era have been taken out in previous weeks. Who comes to his aid but the Bruiserweight? Pete Dunne is back in NXT. And literally looks like he brings a couple of equalizers and steel chairs. And it looks like it's going to be him and O'Reilly challenging McAfee and the tag champs. Maybe a hybrid tag team to challenge the tag titles. No, stupid. Bam. Steel chair to Kyle O'Reilly's back. Pete Dunne. No expression change whatsoever. Stone face as always. He is on Team McAfee as Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Pete Dunne literally destroy Kyle O'Reilly, including joint manipulation, stomps to the arm, and the Birmingham hammer to a chair placed by Pat McAfee on the ring floor. And he basically said, we are the kings here now, and that is undisputed. So as I know now that the next takeover is in December, not Survivor Series weekend, and NXT is not involved in Survivor Series at all. I know, right? I think they're going to try somehow to pull off a War Games again. And this time it will be for, again, what is it now? Fourth time consecutively since inauguration. Undisputed Era will be involved in War Games as they take on Team McAfee. Now, whether or not McAfee involves himself or highlights another person, that is yet to be known. But I think I see the writing on the wall here. And as far as the tag team division, you need to build more teams because these are involved in War Games. You're not going to have challenges for the tag champs. Breezango, they could cash in the rematch clause, but I see them win in the back. No. And I hope Oleg and Danny Burch do have a good run with these titles because they definitely have been overdue for a tag team gold win. Just was really weird the circumstances that they got under, but I digress. Anyway, after Cameron Grimes escapes Dexter Lumis, even in a van where he wanted to get driven back, but Dexter was in the driver's seat. We go back, we find him literally passed out from running, go figure. The whole place is shrouded in darkness, fog, as he walks through literally a cemetery. And then off to the side, a zombie appears, followed by another, and another, and another. And before we know it, even Wade Ballett and freaking Vic Joseph are like, should we get out of here? We get the car keys. And I'm pretty sure this at ringside was probably a little spooked too. I was like, oh boy. And as fog and smoke, moonlighting filled the ring, who comes out of nowhere? Cameron Grimes begs for forgiveness. Stay away. Dexter Lumis. And basically, Dexter Lumis, he puts Cameron Grimes out of his psychological horror after a while when the zombies were coming up. I'm pretty sure one of them was Cannon Carr and the other one was Casey Catanzaro, but there were 6 total apparently. And it looks like he literally caved in one of the zombies. One that crawled around like a spider. That had to be Casey, but literally around Dexter Lumis. Freaking my president, that's Dexter Lumis' daughter or sister. It basically puts her over his head, tosses the zombie on Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes freaked out beyond all belief. And finally is in the clutches of Dexter Lumis, who makes him fall to silence. And then Dexter Lumis literally leaves him with the fog, with the lighting, and the darkness, then covers the ring as the zombies close in. And Cameron Grimes has officially ended his night of terror. But Dexter Lumis wins this theatrical feature. Again, no words, just character. Just brutal action, just a psychological warfare. That is Dexter Lumis. What is next for this guy? Is Cameron Grimes dare going to step and challenge up to this guy again? I hope he learned his lesson. I don't know, but I honestly loved everything about this. This was funny. This was creative. This was very well executed. And hey, it ended in the ring. So technically, Dexter Lumis won. As we hype up our main event now, Trick or Treat, as Candice Ray and Io Shirai, they renew hostilities, but no matter what the wheel says, Io says, I beat Candice. We finally set up our main event after learning what we're going to get this week. Rematch. It's going to be Dakota Kai versus Ember Moon, and Tommaso Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream. 2 pretty good matches that should be pretty fun and to look forward to, but again, we'll see. Oh yeah, there was a skip by the way with Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. I am so over this tag team. I hate the music. It looks like they're both starting to gel with each other though after seeing how aggressive Drake Maverick is. Do I see these guys as future tag team champions? No, but I definitely see them being used towards maybe a challenge to the tag team titles. It gives something for Drake Maverick and Killian Dane to do. I guess it was pretty funny seeing Killian Dane come out in the Shockmaster glitter helmet, but we'll see if it actually leads to something. As we go into our main event, one final spin of the wheel as Shotzi Blackheart now is dressed up as the devil, outfitting. And basically it's tables, ladders, and scares. By the way, Io Shirai, maybe new entrance theme or maybe a one-time entrance special. Poppy was back and the whole place went ballistic, though I could barely understand what she was saying. But that was pretty awesome entrance. She looked like some sort of anime character. Forget the anime, like a high school type anime girl, Poppy did. Anyway, Io Shirai and Poppy, they're definitely one and the same when it comes to support. As Candice Ray came out literally stitched up for this match, like a stitched up doll in stitches, the Poison Pixie, always with her own unique presentation. We get the matches, tables, ladders, and scares, as it basically is a ladder match to climb for the title. And considering these two's history in ladder matches and high spots, I thought it was a very fitting end, hopefully, to this rivalry. I feel like it's an end after that brutal spot toward the end. Kaz at one point getting scared, pulling out some body bag off of a table that literally had fake body parts still caught out of nowhere and made it go, ugh. As Io Shirai wasn't scared, she used it, but she did like wipe her hands off. I thought that was pretty funny. Orange and black ladders kept on coming out the ringside. Both these women were brutalizing each other with steel chairs and ladders, swinging Neckbreaker for 2 tables towards the very end. The Scream character comes back, maybe the same character, maybe a different one. Some people think it was Indy Hartwell. Some people think it was Austin Theory. We'll have to wait and see if this gets revealed or unfolds. And as it looked like we were visiting history to the very first time these two betrayed each other as friends inside a steel cage match, to the time that Candice LeRae came this close to winning a briefcase to challenge for the NXT title, but Io raked her eyes. Io got her eyes raked. It looked like Candice was going to win at this point, but she didn't. And she takes a fall from grace to hell after, basically before this though, she was rendered unconscious, but basically was just hung at a ladder. And then that Scream character got taken up by Shotzi Blackheart. Pretty sure it was probably Indy Hartwell. We'll have to wait and see. But Shotzi did not let this ruin her Halloween Havoc main event. And it didn't, as Candice LeRae takes a horrible fall from the top and tipped from a ladder off into a suspended ladder at ringside. Ridiculous spot earlier with the laptop to Io's face. Damn, Candice. But pretty sure she screwed up her arm. Apparently was bleeding from it too. Awkward landing. The ladder breaks in half and Io Shirai ascends and maintains her grasp on the NXT Women's Championship. So at this point, with the death of the women's division, with Ember Moon sending her sights on Io Shirai, coming so close beating Asuka under a different era and different life, with so many potential competitors still wanting to pick at Io Shirai, including Dakota Kai again. You wonder if Rhea Ripley wants to get that title back too, how much she wants it. Who will be next to challenge Io Shirai? Can anybody stop the genius of the sky? I really don't know. But kudos to Candice with how much punishment she took. I just hope she's okay. And apparently Gargano, he likes wheels and Candice doesn't. What an opposite contrast, right? But overall, I will say this. October for NXT was very much telling towards the end. Enlist a lot of surprises, and I think some things to come. And I hope to see bigger things towards the North American title picture, and curious who will step up next to challenge Io Shirai for the women's title. But more importantly, I just want to know the future of Finn Balor's NXT Championship reign. At this point, if he can't wrestle, they're going to have to do something again, maybe recreate another idea called a first NXT title. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I hope Finn Balor does return soon. I don't see him being involved in this War Games feud. And I'm curious now how much Pete Dunne is going to contribute to NXT. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see. All right. So that was the NXT side. Let's go over the pond and talk about NXT UK. With the story around it being the build-up to Ilya Dragunov versus Volta in 2 incredible matches, a tag match teaser, and then the championship match itself. That has got to be a match of the year candidate for me in all of WWE brand matches. And of course, we have turmoil in the tag team division and uproar, upsets potential to come maybe in the women's division. And of course, the Heritage Cup at the forefront. Let's go ahead and break it down. So we've had our opening matches now. And again, Dave Mastiff knocked out Joseph Connors, the only knockout of the opening round. Flash Morgan Webster and A-Kid had an incredible, fast and furious affair that went to 5 rounds. In the end, A-Kid got the better of Flash Morgan Webster. And then the same was foretold in the lucky end. Kenny Williams and Trent Seven with a very physical, competitive, back and forth match, more so about experience versus speed and, of course, risk. As Kenny Williams took some big spots in this match, Trent Seven, though, finding out from underneath, he counters in round 5, a top round of spot into a roll through, shoulders down, pins him. Trent Seven advances. We got our final 4. It is Dave Mastiff, Trent Seven, and A-Kid, and Noam Dar. And we'll have to see how these matches unfold. But right now, with the only guy winning by a knockout in his opening round, my money is put right now on Dave Mastiff. We also got the return of Eddie Dennis, who has noticed the uproar lately in the tag team division as far as Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews go. Because a few months ago, Mark Andrews was attacked. Now, following his match in the Heritage Cup, Flash Morgan Webster is laid out. But who is there both times? The Hunt. While it looks like there might be a little bit of psychological warfare with Eddie Dennis, as always, he said he's going to assemble a meeting after winning a very competitive, kind of back and forth match with Ashton Smith, who in the end suffered Severn's Bridge. And Eddie Dennis won. And he said he was going to assemble a meeting of the Welsh boys, because they're all from Wales, and they all have history with each other, and basically come down to the bottom of this. As we wait for that to unfold, we look towards the women's side, and we wonder who's next challenge, Kylie Ray, for her NXT UK Women's Championship after her successful defense against Piper Niven in a brutal affair. Ouch. And she basically says that nobody can beat me. Nobody is ready for me. And after insulting some of the competitors and some fought we saw between Amel and Nina Samuels, chaos ensued as Kaylee Ray watched, but who came out there to try and get the best of the champ? But Jinny. And basically, it feels like more so Jinny is a top tier contender, I feel like, to challenge for the NXT UK Women's Championship. As she says, it's time for the queen to claim her crown. We'll have to wait and see as everybody brought each other. Slyra Brookside, Danny Luna, Isla Dawn, Piper Niven, inadvertently, by the way, bumped into each other. Amel, Nina Samuels, and of course, Kaylee Ray and Jinny. And in the end of the day, all these women were down except for Kaylee Ray. Oh, and Ayla Five, of course, too. As these weeks unfold in the NXT UK Women's Division, we got matches with Ayla Valkyrie versus Danny Luna. She overcame Danny Luna's strength. Beautiful suplexes, by the way. And it was a nice, respectable sporting bout as Ayla Valkyrie remains undefeated. And in my opinion, is the #1 real rightful contender to challenge next for the title. Just saying, we'll have to wait and see. We've also seen Piper Niven and Isla Dawn have a respectable competitive bout. I sense real big promise with Isla Dawn. In the end, Piper Niven, she did get the win with the Piper driver, but it looked like at the end, both women had fun. It was respectable too, despite the fall from that brawling affair. And then, of course, we've had build up to, of course, Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. I'm talking about both these men's stories, a match of emotion versus profession. He says he respects Ilya, but he will destroy him. And before that, we got a tag teaser as Pete Dunne and Ilya Dragunov, they tagged to take on Alexander Wolf and Walter in a very competitive affair after Alexander Wolf blames Pete Dunne for losing against Nolan Dar in the opening round of the Heritage Cup. As there was one Heritage Cup match every week, folks. That was like the highlight. Very different dynamic to what we see in NXT UK outside of that, too, with these matches focusing on rounds and stuff like that. And it's a different pace, different strategy comes into play as well. Anyway, boy, I wonder if Joseph Conzi remembers that Dave Mastiff knocked him out. This match highlights so much history of Walter and Pete Dunne and Alexander Wolf and Ilya Dragunov. And in the end, after this went for like pay-per-view worthy time of like close to 25 minutes, Ilya Dragunov successfully pinned the Ring General. For the first time ever, Walter has been pinned in NXT UK to get the win for his team, which led Walter to go freaking irate at the contract signing. No words were exchanged among the two, just fists falling, trying to say Ombak Sipa, fists and chops and slaps. These two keep up with each other intensity-wise. Walter brutalized Ilya Dragunov. Only in the end, Ilya to drive Walter through the barricade, hold the towel, throw it back at him. The two are yelling at each other. The match was made official, as I just saw this week. But before that, let's talk about what's been going on with the Flashmore Webster Mark Andrews storyline. As Eddie Dennis says, you know me forever. You're still narcissistic, but I figure about this quote: keep your friends close, your enemies closer. As it looked like he's been forming something with Pretty Deadly, who recently come off a victory, I might add, from the Hunt. And then, of course, Mark Andrews and Flashmore said, it's all right, guys, just chill out. It looks like the Hunt and Flashmore Webster and Mark Andrews are going to beat down Eddie Dennis and Pretty Deadly. But Eddie Dennis says, you still don't learn. You haven't listened. Keep your enemies close. And a friendship destroyed, considering their history, as the Hunt and Eddie Dennis are united. And they literally destroyed Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. Pretty Deadly don't know what the hell's going on. They just go to the back. And at the end of it, the Hunt stand tall, just yelling about until Eddie Dennis goes. And we'll have to wait and see what's next in this feud and how much more Eddie Dennis will come into play now that apparently he's in control of the Hunt. Well, I mean, he's dealing with wild animals in a way, so I'm curious how this will all fall out. As we look more towards the tag team division, of course, Gallus boys on top, and the eventual return of the Iron King, Joe Coffey. Gallus, of course, have not been 100% in-ring ready yet. They said they are. Pretty Deadly wants a chance at those titles, but it looks like they'll get a chance against the tag champs in a non-title bout, in a six-man bout, as all of Gallus will be back this week, and they take on the trio of Pretty Deadly, and I forget the other partner, but it should be interesting. Saxon Huxley's still a wild animal, of course, too. That guy, I don't know if someone can literally like help that guy. He's just freaking crazy. Anyway, as we look more towards what's to come from the Heritage Cup, we look more towards the tag team division. We look to see maybe who could step up in the women's division. Can anybody beat Aloy Valkyrie? She's almost gone for the whole thing. I think she hasn't faced Ginny yet, so maybe that's what it will come down to. But it's got to be either Ginny or Aloy Valkyrie at this point, I think, challenging for the NXT UK Women's Championship next. But Piper Niven says, rivalries, you know, they're temporary, but injuries, they linger, they can stay forever. Plans to the same for her. Piper Niven wants that go too, and I think more so just wants to beat freaking Kylie Ray at her own game if possible. But let's talk about the #1 foundation that has been the ever-going story. Oh wait, and this is exactly what happens to this promo too. How could I be so rude? Let's talk about the return of the real, the true, the Irish Ace, and the one true NXT Cruiserweight Champion, as he came back and he took on a very competitive, what was his name? Elon Murr, something like that, in his NXT UK debut. But once again, wins by submission this time and proves that point. Don't bet against the Ace. He says the pretenders over there, Santos Escobar, come over here and challenge me, challenge the real champion, because I'm not no sports entertainer. I'm the best professional wrestler. As he rips his mic off in a pre-match interview, the teaser the previous week, and basically says that just remember, you don't bet against the Ace. Someone tells me that Santos Escobar and freaking Jordan Devlin are on a collision course to meet with each other to crown an undisputed, no pun intended, NXT Cruiserweight Champion. But when will that be? Will it be a Worlds Collide next year? Will it be some point beforehand? We'll have to wait and see with this whole world pandemic thing going on, but I digress. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the #1 thing that mattered across all the NXT scene. The match. The freaking match. Bottom line, enough said. As Walter, the Ring General, defended his NXT UK Championship against Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov proved two things in that match. He is intense, and he is virtually unbreakable. These two did not let up for a single second during this all-out British strong, New Japan strong type affair. Chops, slaps, brutal spots going, including a whiplash spot off the ropes. I thought was going to end the match prematurely right there, considering what happened to another person we won't name. And as Ilya continued to fight back, but Walter continued to target and work on the freaking neck. Good God, that man's neck. Ilya would not stay down, literally eating everything from Walter. Powerbombs, chops to the front and the back, a clothesline that would rip the head off a normal man. Incredible near fall spots, but then moments of comeback and hope for Ilya as he gets 10 beats to the Bowen, gets the bear of Walter multiple times, jumping knee strike, high kick, his own clothesline that eventually takes down Darlene General, something about Constantine, gets a near fall of his own. Walter, of course, he bounces back, literally big booting freaking Ilya Dragunov and turning him 360 in the middle of the ring and then dropping him. Things really changed in Walter's favor, though, towards the very end when they got outside the ring and then following a suplex spot where he dropped Ilya again on his neck and head, ouch, on the floor, pushing him into the steel steps, further extenuating the damage he's done to his neck and head, preventing, of course, Torpedo Moscow. That did hit earlier, but Ilya cannot capitalize. And then he goes for it again and couldn't do it because of the damage to his neck as he tries to run into it. Walter just had enough, wanted to end him once for all. Power bombs couldn't work. The clothesline couldn't work. So he goes to the one thing he had left at this point that I know of that he used to beat Pete Dunne, the splash from the top. And as literally Ilya is bleeding from the inside through his mouth out, he kicks out and sends Walter into a spot that I don't think I've seen out of the Ring General since he joined NXT UK. More chops, more slaps, brutal beatdowns galore, literally bashing the man's head in. This man's chest, red, pink, beyond all belief, worse than Daniel Bryan in Country Redacted in that Rumble. And in the very end, he finally traps him again in the sleeper for the third time, but this time, once and for all, drops him in the middle of the ring, scissor locks him, and literally we just hear Ilya gurgling blood out of his mouth as his eyes roll into the back of his head and they slowly close. And via his body, finally given out just long enough, it seemed, Walter retained his title. Holy freaking hell, what an incredibly brutal, beautiful, physical, emotional affair. I cannot wait for the next time these two face each other again. The way that this was built, may the next one be built even better. With the fact Eli did not get him submitted, his body gave out, which definitely leaves room towards these two facing each other again. The bottom line is this, though. Who can stop and dethrone the Ling General Walter as he continues to lead Imperium and NXT UK? I truly don't know, but I cannot wait to see what's next for the Ring General. This was NXT UK TakeOver main event worthy and booked pretty much match-wise too. And the best thing that happened across all the NXT scene, in my opinion, for the month of October too. Absolutely loved it. And Ela, my God, that man, enough said. One thing for sure, Ela's never going to be the same again after that match, and Walter is definitely never going to forget this encounter. They bowed each other all up and down Europe before this, WXW included, but I think right now, Walter, honestly, I think can say this was the toughest match he ever had with Ilya Dragunov to date. What an incredible affair. If there's one thing you should watch regarding anything connected to NXT, it's that match from NXT UK. And that's all I gotta say so far that's happened across the NXT scene. Timestar is ugly. The mat is sacred. And so it will continue to be for the time being. Well, that's all I got to say for now, and I think that catches you all up on NXT and NXT UK. So thank you so much for tuning in again to another episode of the NXT scene. I will see you all towards the end of November again, where we look back at a month of NXT, the big moments, the big storylines to come, potential challengers maybe for the titles, title feuds, maybe unexpected surprises, maybe some fantasy bookings. But that's all I got to say for now. So thanks again for tuning in. Let me know what you've loved this past month from NXT to NXT UK. What has surprised you? What have you enjoyed from the NXT scene? Because there's a lot to really digest and discuss. And honestly, there's even stuff that I didn't pick up that you can look at in between. You want to know more about me, though? Know this. I'm just a simple man. I'm not William Regal's right-hand man either. It's just Sunday night I wear suits. But I am a lifelong fan of ... wrestling. And yes, I also do have the NXT title too. But anyway, you want to follow me and talk anything wrestling, Instagram, PlayStation, Twitter, or just keep following this simple YouTube channel. It's NFoster1916. You want to talk wrestling but see me simply gaming? Check out my Twitch. I Twitch stream now on weekends. NFoster191625. I have to think about my next game, but I'll be back with a Sock Sunday for sure next week as well. As always, you know what I'm about. Supporting pro wrestling folks, that's the heart of it, especially us wrestling fans. One more thing. Thank you, RingComp, for everything you've given us, the fans. We will always support you and continue to support you and what you stand for. But their store is closing because, again, you can't make money outside WWE. It just doesn't work like that. So, folks, if you haven't already, get your gear from RingComp. Thank them for everything they've done, because come the end of the year, pretty much, or in a limited period of time, it will be gone. Thank you, RingComp. Anyway, folks, again, support for wrestling is the heart of it. And as always, let's keep growing. This incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, unscripted, unrestricted wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell to know this video goes on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. Help me keep growing this channel. Shout out to all 170 of this been with me this fun YouTuber career journey. It's not late anytime soon. More wrestling and gaming content to come for you. I promise all of you that too. Support NoDQ. Support WrestleJoy, Jeff Meacham Network, Greg Cherry Brand, Armbar, Jerry Slaughter's new forum, Jerry Slaughter YouTube channel, Into the Stratosphere, my friend Cindy's podcast, Team All Elite, and of course the Bulletcast in general. And again, just support wrestling. But until next time, and shout out to me, Derek Family on Twitter for all things wrestling, of course, and of course on this channel. There'll be a Sybil chat coming up this week, as well as a special, of course, AEW Spark Reignited as we head down the road to AEW Full Gear this coming Saturday, and the Go Home Show AEW Dynamite as well. Curious how ratings will fall out too. Now we got standard NXT. But anyway, I hope you all take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever. Find something, some promotion, somebody, some color maybe that can connect with you. Make a friend or rob you out too. I dare you all to challenge virtue. That's all I gotta say about that. Please wear a mask over your face and nose. Exercise caution, exercise safety. Beware of those around you. Try and build some positivity. And we will get through this together. There's only 2 months left in this wildness, folks. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. But tomorrow's never guaranteed. So live for today the best way you can. And until next time, I just hope you all enjoy, have a wonderful night. And remember, no matter what, whether you're over there or over here, when it comes to the black and gold, these same words hold. We are NXT. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you later on.